Okay, Suits, I'm going to play the role of angry Western football fan.
Okay.
Damn, Commissioner, changing the game to be like the Americans. Your rebuttal.
Yeah, no, it's not. The pillars of our game are intact. And we can go through each rule, and I know we will as we go on here, Barney. But I understand the emotional response, the gut response. But let's start let's start this discussion by first saying that 95% of what we ever happens. So let's start the discussion there. Try and suck some of the emotion out of it. We can go through each one of the rules. And then throughout that, there are 4 pillars to me that are lines in the sand when it comes to our game.
Okay. If that's what...
One,
before we get to that, can I ask you one more question?
Mm-hmm.
Did you sign NDA?
No, I wasn't part of the NDA group. No.
Okay. Thank you.
The commissioner's tour, I'm not sure if he visited with everybody on the tour as much as he and I talked. but there was no NDA signed, or I wasn't part of that internal final group there. No.
Thanks for answering that, Glenn. Okay, let's start with the rules. I'll leave it to you. Which one do you want to go with first?
Well, let's start with the 35-second rule, because it's going to be implemented this coming next season.
Yep.
So let's start with that, because from a television perspective and entertainment perspective, and I think that's where Stewart was coming from in a lot of what he was saying in the press conference, was to enhance the entertainment value of the game, and for a television perspective, to keep the game flow. This 35-second rule is a good one, because in reality right now, we have anywhere between 30 seconds and probably almost 50 seconds between the snap of the ball, because the officials will change and they have different timing, and the substitution made by teams can be different depending on where you are in the game. So, they may blow in the snap early in the first quarter, but because everyone's way more tired in the fourth, that 20-second clock that's actually really taking 30 to 35 seconds already is now stretched to 45 seconds in between snaps anyway. So this is a way to start the clock the moment the ball is dead, and you have 35 seconds to make your substitutions, do whatever. If you don't, it's delay of game. So this will increase the flow of the game. The most important aspect of it, though, is to not change the final 3 minutes. And I know we've talked at length, and you've talked at length about it.
What if, let's say, Joe catches the ball, boom, puts it down. We got 35 seconds. We get to the line. We're ready to go. We're calling it from the line. Defense is shuttling in and out. They get the 35 when we don't want to lose the 35. We're still in a hurry-up phase here.
Yeah.
What's going to happen there?
Well, I think coaches, just off the top of my head, the coach would probably really limit substitutions at that point.
You'd be forced to take a timeout or go down for a fake injury.
You take a timeout. The fake injury takes a player off the field for 3 plays, so you don't want to lose an important player there.
Mm-hmm. That's why the guy that rides. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Barney, there'll be some rules committee sharpening of some of these, and I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm defending and towing some sort of company line, because I'm not. And there are aspects of this that I'm saddened by, to be honest, and we can get to those in a second. But this 35-second rule, I will add this to it. If we can, off the top of my head, the final 3 minutes could look like this, and I'm sure they'll kick around a lot of ideas here. But the final 3 minutes with the 35-second rule in place could look like this. you have 35 seconds to make a substitution and get the ball snapped, but the time clock in the final 3 minutes doesn't start until the snap of the ball. So basically, what my concern is with the 35-second rule in the final 3 minutes is a team with a 2-point lead and a minute 30 left can kneel down 3 times, game over.
Yep.
And our game this year, about half of our games have been decided in the final 3 minutes because of the timing. And the timing allows for, or opens up the opportunity for, coming back from down 2 scores, having to give up the ball and give it to the offense that's down by 2 to create the possibility of the comeback. So I know they're going to dig into that in a big way in the rules committee and find a way to mesh our great finishes and not lose that with this new 35-second rule. And I'll add one more thing on the 35 seconds. If we don't revamp as a league the whole replay center process, restart it, revamp it, cut it back, make it simpler, less chance for interruption in the game. If they don't do that, game flow won't change anyway. So the 35-second has to be in conjunction with a rebuild of the replay center responsibilities.
I don't think we need to waste any time on the benches, because that just makes sense. If spaceship landed and you told the Martian what was going on, he'd probably say, "Well, put him on the same side, right there." So let's not go there. Let's next go to the goalposts and the length of the field.
Yeah, this is the part where I am torn a little bit. I understand the that they work together. So if you move the goalpost back 15 yards, you take out 10 yards in the middle of the field, then when you get the ball on your own 30, you're only out by 5 yards in trying to drive into field goal range, basically, when you remove that middle of the 10 yards in the middle. So those two changes are interlocked. And the sad part about this for me is that our chance for a missed field goal return is gone. But I think, to be honest, and if you take the emotion out of that, it's really not one of the pillars. And we can go into what are the 4 pillars. But a missed field goal and the single point has been debated and talked about as long as I've been involved with the league, which is now going into year 40-something, directly involved with the league. Every single year we have this debate. And every single year there's a whole bunch of people. And listen, if every single person that wanted to get rid of the single for a missed field goal because it rewards failure buys a ticket, we will have jam-filled stadiums. This is not a pillar that takes away any of the uniqueness. I mean, yes, it's a quirky Canadian thing that we have had for a long time that has been highly debated. But I'm almost relieved that we can put that baby to bed, put it to rest for a while, and it will eliminate, and let's be clear about this, it will completely eliminate a missed field goal return for a touchdown. And that is an exciting play. But I think what happened here was the Board of Governors said, if we can generate 60 more touchdowns and we weigh that against 4 to 6 missed field goal returns for a touchdown, I'll take the 60 touchdown added. That the 60 touchdowns, if that transpires the way their data says it will, then that's the trade-off that they made. We give up those 3 to 6 plays, we get 60 more touchdowns.
There were quite a few text messages from college football fans in the States. I'm telling us to remember the kick return last year on a short field goal. So, yeah.
It can still happen, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that hate it. Colson wants to jump in.
Yeah, just my own personal thoughts on this, I'm wondering why we didn't remove the rouge on just the field goal and leave in the punt and the kickoff. Because I'm thinking back to even just this year when the Calgary Dinos were down by 9 points, got the touchdown, 2-point convert, and then kicked the kickoff through the end zone to tie the game.
That okay, and that's an anomaly. The punt thing, I've punted it from the 5-yard line through the end zone onto the executive course at Holiday Park. That is a gutless way to win, and I've been there.
My rebuttal then is the ball has to touch the ground or a player first. But if it then goes out of bounds off of a kickoff or a punt, I think that would still allow the rouge to be in play. And then you just get rid of it at the kickoff. That's my own thoughts on this, having mulled it over for, I guess, 36 hours now. But it's just a thought, right?
You big trick shot guy.
Yeah, no, and I hear you on that. But, I think, again, the board was looking at this, and the new commissioner was looking at this and said, one of the criticisms has always been, and the debatable aspects of our game, is that no one wants to see the Grey Cup won on a missed field goal or a punt out of the end zone. Like someone's punting the ball and you get a point and win the game for that. That's a big part of this rule change. I hear you on the nuance, because I've always argued that while I would tweak this single point without moving the goalposts, say, for instance, where if the ball is not playable on a short field goal, then you don't get a point for that if it's missed. But this takes it to another step, because let's be clear, there will not be any more returns. If a coach doesn't think that his kicker can make it to the crossbar, unless it's a desperate, last second 65-yarder, we have no choice, which rarely happens, then he's not going to put the kicker out there. Because and why would you put a returner on any field goal that's 45 or in? You wouldn't even put a guy back there. You'll leave him on the line of scrimmage and see if you can block the kick. So the chance for a kick return, a missed field goal return touchdown, is basically eliminated. But I think that's the trade-off that they're willing to try to make to generate an open end zone that now will generate 60 more touchdowns because of that extra space.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with the end zone and the field goal posts or anything like that. I appreciate the uniqueness of having the rouge and I would prefer to have more opportunities for it still. But I also understand doing a clean slate of, no, we're just not going to have it just to not confuse people.
I think it's a small... I like it too. It's exciting. But the amount of times that we actually see it to the repercussions on the other side, I'm cool giving it up personally. Yeah. If you want that hill to die on, that returning of a missed field goal, go nuts, fill your boots. I understand. I hear you, Barney. And here's a couple of other things that is, I think is legit, that what the commissioner said yesterday, that the safety angle, and people say, well, that doesn't happen very often where a receiver or DB runs into the goalpost. But if you can eliminate one injury because of that, then, that is legit. I mean, the putting the post in the way of the play is a safety issue. So that's a legit excuse, or a reason, I should say. The camera angles from TV's perspective, where Stuart has a deep background, a camera angle being blocked, and especially it's often our live camera. So the camera that you see in real time, the live action camera, that gets blocked by a touchdown that's beyond the goalpost. That happens. I mean, that Carter interception that they put in the video, and I think we're showing it here on the stream, this is partially blocked by the goalpost. In fact, I remember the call because I was in that game, and wow, what a catch. But Rod Smith hesitated on the call because he was looking off the monitor, and that shot was blocked partially. And so he wasn't sure if he caught it or not. And he wanted to hold off until he made the call. Scott in Regina says the 60 more touchdown projection is laughable at best. So not a data guy. We'll see. He says the college kick 6 play has 6 million views on YouTube. So I think those plays generate interest. Scott in Regina. understandable. Hey, maybe we'll have
those plays get you up out of your seat, and those plays are now gone. And we need to now see whether or not there'll be 60 more touchdowns. This is the part where, and this is sort of where I am. Trust but verify. Let's see and trust that this data has been legitimately found and developed and studied, and then let's verify it over the next the first half of the season next year, and see if we are increasing touchdowns, if the offense is more creative down in the goal line because they have more space, and what all the numbers projected.
Do you like the end zones to 15?
I think that's part of, again, the link between moving the goalpost back. Now, if you're 20 yards, you just have to get so much closer to be in field goal range. I think that's where there was a little, let's not make it too drastic. Let's move it 5 yards. Plus the consistency of Montreal and Toronto.
I was just going to say it's because of the wonky, the wonky parks. Yeah, let's show Memphis. Do you remember this bad boy, Glenn? In Memphis, show if you're watching the stream. This picture is awesome. Look at that dumpster fire. I want to run into that wall. You're running a flag post or a corner post pattern, and you stumble. You can be in the hospital for a while. That's an amazing picture. Okay, so Glenn, this is Adam and Theodore. Kudos to this guy, because he's asked this for 48 hours to different guests. Okay. I actually asked when Stuart was on yesterday. I read it late. He said he's a big pillar guy. Lots of companies have those guys that like to make the pillars. He wants to know the 4 pillars.
Okay, so the 4 pillars for me, and these are lines in the sand, and my response today would be extremely different if any one of these pillars were mentioned. The first one and most important is 3 downs. The second one is 12 players. The third one is the final 3 minutes. And the fourth one is Canadian content. Those pillars in our game, to me, are the lines in the sand. And none of those pillars were encroached upon yesterday. So, that's why I'm choosing to trust and verify, and I'm choosing to be open-minded. But let me add this to the emotion that we're seeing. I want to thank those people. And I think that emotion, including Nathan Rourke in Vancouver, that raw emotion and fight in the dog to preserve our Canadian traditions. Thank you for that, because those fans aren't diehards that need to change, and they're not traditionalists that or don't get it or whatever. Those fans are our VIP fans, so we should be treating them as such. Those are our VIP fans, and that passion and that concern. Again, as we started this interview, the 95% of things that you worry about that will never happen, keeping that in mind, I'm glad Nathan Rourke said what he said. I am. He was emotional. He loves Canadian football. I think when he steps back and he looks at the actual rule changes that are in place in the next 2 years, he will see that we are still uniquely Canadian with our 3 downs, our 12 players. The pillars are still intact, including, the development of Canadian content, so that we can have stars like Jeff Fairholm in our own backyard.
You don't think it was, for, I guess, one of the poster childs of the league, maybe a lesson to think before you speak? Hold the emotion, check 24-hour rule. All parents know that. And then maybe come out with a statement.
Well, okay. Yeah, I hear you that there was emotion there. I mean, you could see in how he was saying what he was saying, how emotional he was on it. And I when I went back and listened to it 3 or 4 times, again, I think he was concerned with the direction that this seems to be taking. It was less of a discussion on the actual rule changes that have been added here, and more on what does this mean moving forward? Is this the slippery slope? Are we the frog in the boiling water that is turned up slowly?
So, but isn't that just the conspiracy theorists right away, the tinfoil heads? It's like, oh my God, what are they putting in my body? And I got to wear this and I got to do this. It's just like, let's just cool your jets. They're, and the other thing is it's Stuart Johnston. Yeah, he is the commissioner. He had a group of, I'm sure, really smart people looking at this, pros and cons. This isn't just something he sat in his hot tub one night, said, "These sounds like this has a good idea. I'm going to roll with these." And the going back, Glenn, that to Nathan Rourke, it's like Chikai. He never I wish he would have just squashed the 4-down thing. I wish he when Dunk asked him that, and I know you never say never, and that's a motto in life: never say never. Like I said, if the guys that own Live Golf come and say, "Hey, here's $200 billion, we want to buy this CFL," are we a business or are we a community service? First and foremost, what are we doing?
The owners would sell it. So that,
and I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah, that's the answer to that question. And, but here's the other aspect of what the passionate fan and what the passionate Nathan said. The other side of that is, let's say hypothetically that there is a secret plan to go to 4 downs down the road. This passionate response by fans, our VIP fans, this passionate response from one of the star faces in the league in Nathan Rourke is another reminder to all of the board and to the commissioner. Okay, we're listening, but don't infringe on the pillars. Don't go so far down the line. And I again, I'm going to be talking to Nathan this week because we have the Lions game. But I'm glad that has been out there, because if hypothetically, and I don't believe there is, but if hypothetically there was this secret plan to go to 4 downs in 3 or 4 years, then this type of response will remind them. They're going to be watching. The board will be watching this. And there's going to be lines in the sand for Canadians on this.
Here, if you missed it today, here was Trevor Harris's comments on his thoughts on the changes.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit of an overreaction yesterday by some people, but I mean, shoot, it's still 3 downs. There's still 12 people on the field. Field's still 65 yards wide. The end zone's still bigger than 10 yards. It's going 15. It's still Canadian football. There's still going to be onside punts and all the crazy plays, and shoot, I mean, it's the same game. The only thing that changes is really just field goal returns. But the other return game hasn't been affected. You're always going to have kickoff returns. You're still going to have the 5-yard halo returns. So the game has not changed. I mean, it's still the Canadian Football League, and we got 9 Canadian teams in Canadian cities. And so we got smart people at the top that know what they're doing. We're employees. I wouldn't tell an employer how to run their business and what to do. And so I'm just grateful to be in this league and have an opportunity to play in front of these fans and in this country. And so I'm just grateful to be here. And whatever the rules are, we should adjust to them and trying to bend them into your advantage. And so I know there's probably some people upset, but it is what it is. And we have people at the top making decisions, and we have to trust that they know what they're doing. And I'm one of those people that I trust them.
I think the kids would call that throwing a little bit of shade, whatever they say, 6, 7. But that's kind of what he's doing there. Some people are saying that's a corporate answer. He thinks he's an employee. Yeah, that's what Trevor Harris thinks, which kind of is.
Yeah, and Nick Arbuckle said something similar today as well, very similar to that. I think when you pull out, you mentioned Nathan Rourke and his comments, and could he have worded it differently? and taken a moment and then worded it differently. Yes. I would also say yes to the commissioner could have worded his answer to the question from Justin Dunk differently. He could have said don't say never, say never. That starts a firestorm of, they're automatically doing it. But let me read you one other quote on from him, which said, and they were talking about the governors and the vote that was unanimous. They said, they understand that we can and must advance our game, not by abandoning what makes it so great and unique, but by building upon our game's legacy. So, end of quote. So that quote was in there as well. And we choose not to take that one out when it said, we're not trying to change what makes it unique. And this was not to make it, listen, I think it's disrespectful to the fans to suggest that by making the field 100 yards long, they'll be tricked into thinking they're going to an NFL game. Like our fans are way smarter than that, way more knowledgeable than that. They will not be tricked like this is some sort of. So, again, this did not infringe upon the pillars. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I wrote down the pillars. I'm going to keep them right here in the studio, Glenn, and then we're going to go back to because we could go for, and I got so many texts I want to get to here, and we kept you long. We get to do this again on Thursday, which is great. What games are you doing this weekend, by the way?
I have BC. I'm in BC and then in Edmonton.
Oh, you're in Edmonton. Okay.
Yes.
Right on. Thanks so much. Let's catch up in a couple days. Text me if anything crazy happens.
Okay, you got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Press coverage with Glen Suitor.